So, for context, I've been raised by my aunt for the past 12 years because my mother gave me up for adoption at the age of 10. I know it's not a very typical situation, but that's what happened to me. Because my mother just felt herself incompetent to raise me anymore. To be honest, I would say that she was, so it was probably a good call on her part, but back then, obviously, I couldn't fathom how she could do this to me. And I thought it was the biggest betrayal of my life. I still do. I can't imagine how a mother can bring herself to do that to her own child and just give them up like that. But anyway, it's been 12 years and I think I've moved on with my life now. The reason it hurt me even more was because it's not like I never had a normal life with my mother. I really did. Up until the age of 6 years, as far as I remember, everything was good. But then there was a tragic car accident and we lost my father. He was coming back home from work and he had been working overtime. It was pretty late at night and a drunk truck driver was all it took. He fought for a couple of days, but then he succumbed to his injuries. And after that, my mother was never the same again. I don't remember much about that period in time. But I just remember that after that, she was negligent and it was me constantly begging her to take care of me and herself. As a 6-year-old, it was not my job to take care of both of us. But I was the one who kept her going, and I know that she was not happy about it. I was the one who would bug her to make dinner instead of ordering takeout every other day. I was the one who would insist that we kept our home and our clothes clean even though she didn't seem to care. I was the one who pushed her to pay all the bills on time after we lost our electric and water services for a couple of days because of delayed payments. Basically, I was the one who reminded her to do everything. I was the one who kept us going, and she didn't like it because she just wanted to give up on everything and sit at home. For a few years, she didn't even work and she was sitting at home unemployed after my father's passing. And it was my grandparents who helped her out. But eventually, even they had to tell her that she needed to find a job because things couldn't go on like this. And 2 years after his passing, she finally started working again. And I thought that things would now change, but I was wrong because somehow she started caring about me even less. She would hardly speak to me. She would hardly even look at me, as if it was difficult for her to do that. I spent most of my time at my aunt's house because she was the one who ended up babysitting me, even though by then I think it would have been fine for me to go back home from school directly because I think I could have taken care of myself. My mother didn't like that though, so she sent me to my aunt's place after school, and soon enough it felt like I was spending all my time with my aunt anyway. My aunt ran her business from home, so it was a little more convenient for her, and she loved me. She felt bad for me. So she looked after me after my mother started working. It felt like she was either always at work or she was outside with her friends or going out on dates, and it felt like she had a life again. But I was not a part of it. It stung. I'm not going to lie. And as a kid, I didn't know how to put my feelings into words, so I just kept quiet about the whole thing. But deep down, I was hurting because I felt like my mother was forgetting about me and my father. This went on for like 2 more years until I was 10 years old, and that's when I discovered certain things about my mother, like the fact that she had developed a bit of a drinking problem after she had started working and going out. It was my aunt who told me about it, even though she put it very delicately, because she was building up to something. She said that because of this, my mother had decided to let my aunt adopt me because, as it is, I was hardly spending any time with her. And it was true, I hardly stayed at home. It was maybe only on the Sundays that I was at home, but most of the time I was with my aunt. I was living with her anyway, so my mother had decided that it would be better for me to be legally adopted by my aunt. because she herself did not feel like she was up to the task of raising a child anymore, not after what she had been through. Honestly, as a 10-year-old, I think I felt all the emotions that I could have, but I couldn't verbalize any effort because I was so betrayed and hurt. My aunt tried to make it easier for me, but in my head, I just couldn't figure out why my mother would do something like this. I felt like I was not important to her and she was just making up excuses to stay away from me because I guess she had just wanted to forget about everything in the past and move on with her life. And I don't blame her for that, but abandoning your child is not the way to do that. It took me a couple of weeks to come to terms with it, but eventually I decided I was not going to fight it if that's what my mother wanted. I decided to tell my aunt that I was fine with all of this, and they started the whole process. It took a very long time. I don't even remember how long it took. But I do remember people asking me if I was fine with this, if this is what I wanted. And I wanted to tell them that I was not fine with that. I wanted to tell them that I did not want this for myself or my mom. I wanted things to go back to how it used to be when I was a kid and my dad was still around. But I couldn't say any of it, so I just ended up telling everyone that I was fine with all of this. I had thought about it. I loved my aunt, and I wanted this. The only part that was true out of any of this was that I did love my aunt. I guess I got lucky. I had a good aunt. Anyway, eventually it was all finalized. I saw my mom very little after that, and even during the process, I hardly saw her. I knew from my aunt that she was dating somebody new, and even that felt a bit odd. Like I said, I had been trying to distract myself from all of this, so I did not say anything about it. But after the adoption was processed and finalized, I don't know what got into my mother. She stopped visiting altogether. Before that, she would at least make a show of things and try to make it seem like she could, but after that, it felt like she was a stranger. We were not even invited to her wedding, not me, not my aunt. And afterwards, I think my aunt also stopped trying to get in touch with her because before that, she would at least call and leave messages for my mother to come and visit me at least. But when she got married, about a year after my adoption, and we were not invited, she got the message, and as it is, by then I was legally her kid, so I don't blame her. It hurt. I'm not going to lie, but now that 12 years have passed, I think it hurts a little less. I still don't have any answers. I don't understand why she would do anything like that. At least I know that my aunt tried her best to give me the childhood that was taken away from me and give me a good life. I value her above all else. And even though I don't have any answers to my questions, I don't think that I care to find out the answers anymore either. I've made peace with my situation. Yeah, I'm in a good place in my life now. But then recently my mother came to the surface and she reached out to me. My aunt has always stayed in the same place, so it wouldn't have been difficult for her to show up and visit us. But she chose to message me on Facebook. She sent me a long message telling me about how she had tried very hard to move on with her life. But in the end, she had found it impossible to do so because she felt so guilty about what she had put me through. She told me that she really wanted to meet me and reconnect. She wanted to build a relationship with me once again, and I instantly knew that there was something fishy about it because why would she want to reconnect with me after 12 years of no contact? She has a new life now, I know that. I've heard from a couple of relatives that after she got married, she moved away to the suburbs, and since then, she's not been in touch with anyone. Her Facebook account didn't tell me much, but from the profile picture, I could see she was happy with her husband. And they even had a dog, even though my mother had never been one for pets, and she didn't even let my dad get one when he was around. So clearly things have changed in her life and she's happy enough. Then why would she need to reach out to me after 12 years of no contact and try to make it seem like she was sorry about everything? I knew that there was something off about the whole thing and I addressed it immediately. I did not even try to pretend I wanted to meet her. I just asked her if she wanted anything from me, because I couldn't imagine why else she would text me now. Took her a couple of days, but then she replied to me, and this time, thankfully, she didn't lie to me and insult my intelligence. She told me the truth, that apparently, before she got married, while she was dating her current husband, she had never told him anything about me or her past life. She had made it seem like everything was fine, although he knew that everything was probably not fine, since they had met in AA. For anyone who doesn't know what I mean, they met at Alcoholics Anonymous, the local support group. He was new to town, so there was no way that we would have known anything about her, and she liked that. But she thought that this was a new opportunity for her to have a clean slate and begin again. And that's what she did. She decided to tell him that she had developed problems with drinking because of control issues and stuff. She never brought up anything about my father, his passing, me, nothing. And he believed all of it. He didn't have any reason to doubt her. She seemed like a decent person, so when they started dating and when they were getting serious, she decided to erase every trace of my father and I from her home. She put all our photos and things in the attic. She told her family not to bring us up ever in front of him. She even told her friends and the ones who found this problematic, she cut them off. Then they got married. And just to be extra sure that he would never find out about me or my father, she decided to move to the suburbs with him, and that's how things have been for the past 12 years. Pretty convenient, right? She just moved on with her life, and in fact, she didn't only move on, she made a new life for herself altogether, and she was happy. But unfortunately, lies always catch up with the liar. And she got caught in this huge lie of hers, and now her husband is extremely upset with her. Basically, for 12 years, she had been able to hide the fact that she had had a whole life with a husband and a child in the past from her husband very well. She had kept all our framed photographs and albums in a corner of their attic, and she had hidden it so well that he had never found out about it. She had even told him that it was just a bunch of documents from her previous workplace that had been left with her. She didn't know what to do with it, so she just kept it in a corner as a keepsake. That made sure he never even went near it, because he was sure that it was just a bunch of boring things. But then recently he was messing around in the attic for some reason, and accidentally he went near the hidden pile of things and happened to feel a corner of the framed photographs. That there was definitely something interesting in there, and well, he was right. He found out what my mother had been hiding for so long, and he confronted her about it. She didn't even try to lie. After 12 years of lying to him, she couldn't do this anymore. She told him everything, and now he has basically told her that she has to apologize to me and bring me back, or else they are done. So now she wants me to come back to her. She wants me to at least give it a try so we can reconcile or something. And why does she want that? She wants that only because she is scared of losing her husband. Not because she thinks she has actually done anything wrong, not because she actually feels sorry for whatever has happened. She just wants to make sure that things are fine in her marriage, and that's why she thinks I should give up my peace of mind. I should give up the life that I have created for myself without her, and I should just go back to her. It was infuriating, and the fact that she had said it also casually in that one message instead of trying to at least speak to me in person just showed me how unimportant all of this was to her, and how she wouldn't even bother with any of it if it had not been for her marriage. So I really did have a lot of things to say, but instead I just chose to ignore her, and that's what I've been doing, because I don't think that she's worth a reply. I don't think that I have to talk to her, so I've just blocked that account. I'm done with her now. I mean, of course I had been done with her for quite a while now, almost 12 years, but now I don't even have any hope that she might turn out to be a decent person. She has never been one. And she never will be one. So anyway, that was what happened. And I spoke to my aunt about it, and she told me that if I want to, I can still talk to her and try to make things right, because even if her motive is not right, at least she reached out to me. She told me that this is my one and only chance, probably in my whole lifetime, to make things right with my mother, and I might not get it again. So I know for a fact that my aunt doesn't like my mom, but if even she's saying this, then obviously I'm going to have second thoughts. So I don't know. AITA for not wanting to meet my mother after 12 years of no contact. Edit. Guys, just so you know, my aunt is not siding with my mother in any way, shape, or form whatsoever. She's just brought a new side of things out for me, and of course, she has already told me that eventually I should do what I think is right. But she told me to take this into consideration as well. And like I said, she's not a huge fan of my mom. She seemed quite content when I told her that I had chosen to ignore her. But because she's a well-wisher, because she loves me, she also told me this side of things, so I can take that into consideration. So I can think about that and make an informed decision instead of just rushing headlong into what I think is right. By no means is she trying to influence my decision, because why would she even do that? Like I said, she doesn't even like my mom and she loves me, so she obviously wants what is best for me. Yeah, that's what I had to say, and I hope people don't misunderstand my aunt or anything. Update 1. Hey, so thank you so much to everybody who commented on my post and reached out to me. It means a lot to me. I have decided to continue ignoring my mother because honestly, I don't want anything to do with her. I can't even imagine what I will say to her if I ever come across her. I mean, we have nothing in common. I don't have anything to say to her after 12 years of not saying anything to her, after not hearing from her. Even now, like I said, she's only reaching out to me because she wants to save her marriage. She couldn't care less about me. Why would I care about somebody like that? I spoke about this with my aunt. She told me that it's perfectly fine if I decide not to speak to her, because at the end of the day, it's my relationship with my mother. And she just wanted me to think about all sides of everything before I made a decision. And now that I have done that, she's proud of me for standing my ground and not bowing my head. And I'm proud of myself too. God knows it was difficult for me to come to a decision like this, but it had to be done. With regards to my mother's marriage, if her husband leaves her, then I think it's her problem, not mine. I haven't even met the man. I was not even invited to the wedding. I have had nothing to do with him ever, but I think it's a good thing he decided to try and at least force my mother into doing the right thing after so many years. But I guess even he knows he shouldn't have expected anything out of it, because I'm a person with self-respect and I'm not going to let go of that just to save somebody else's marriage. Somebody who didn't even care about me. However, it's good to see that she married somebody with a spine, because otherwise it would have been a serious downgrade from my father. Honestly, thinking about my mother after such a long time has really made me think about my father as well. And I've made my aunt bring out all the old photo albums, and I really do miss him. It just hit me really hard recently. For the past many years, I've been running away from the memories of him, and with the anniversary of his passing coming up, I think I'm going to do something for him in his honor. I've never done anything like that before, mostly because I've been a kid, but I think I am grown up enough now, and I think I need to stop trying to forget about him altogether and start trying to remember him the way I want to. My aunt also thinks it's a good idea, so I'm going to go ahead with it and start planning. Update 2. Hey, so it's been 2 weeks since I received that message from my mother, and I did not reply to her. So once again, she decided to reach out to me. This time she decided to show up at my aunt's place, something that she should have done in the beginning itself, but she didn't bother. Anyway, I was not at home. I'm at college right now. I only go back home for the weekends because my campus is really not that far. And in the middle of the week, I have classes. I'm busy, so I don't know what she was thinking. To be honest, I'm pretty sure she doesn't even know that I'm in college. I'm sure she won't even know my age unless she gets to calculate it or something. Anyway, she showed up and she demanded to see me. But my aunt obviously had to tell her that I was not at home, and my mother decided not to believe her and start fighting with her. She had the audacity to tell my aunt that she did not leave me with her, so my aunt could brainwash me into going against my own mother, as if she did not do that job herself. My mother was totally delusional. She was blaming my aunt for all of this, as if my aunt was the one who had abandoned me and treated me badly my whole life. I don't even understand why she was fighting with my aunt. She should have been grateful to her, because without my aunt, she wouldn't even have been able to have this new life that she has now. She would have been stuck with me, and I would have been stuck with her, and my aunt was the one who rescued both of us from that situation, but whatever. I think my mother just wanted somebody to blame for this whole fiasco, and because my aunt was just standing there, she chose to blame her. If I had been there, she would have blamed me. I already know that. Anyway, things got really heated. My mother was trying to escalate things very badly, but my aunt knew better, so she just started threatening my mother that she was going to call the cops. My mom thought that my aunt was bluffing, but as soon as my aunt took her phone out, she started cussing her out and eventually left. So that's how that turned out to be, and honestly, I'm getting sick of her now. I don't understand what her problem is. I just can't deal with this, because every time I try to forget about her and the whole situation, she comes right back. If things go on like this, I might just speak to her, just to put an end to all of it. Because my aunt does not deserve to be harassed like this, just because she chose to do the right thing for me and chose to adopt me when my mother wouldn't have me. She did something good. This is not what she deserves, and I'm going to make sure that I deal with the situation in such a way that my mother doesn't even think of disturbing us ever again, because I've had enough of this. Update 3. So it's been a couple of days since my previous update, and right now it's the weekend, so I'm home. This is the perfect time to deal with my mom, so I decided to call her, and I invited her over so I could talk things over. And I even told her to bring her husband so we could deal with this in one go. A couple of hours ago, she turned up, along with her husband, of course, and he was the only person who seemed a little ashamed of himself. I don't know for what reason, because it's not like he had done anything. But I guess just the fact that he was associated with this woman made him feel embarrassed. I guess he really loves her, because if I was in his place, I would have left somebody like this, because I can't tolerate anybody who lies for so long, knowing fully well that what they're doing is wrong. But anyway, once they were inside, I made it very clear to my mom and her husband that whatever was going on in their marriage was very little of my concern. But the fact that my mother was going crazy and also driving us nuts in the process was unacceptable. I told her I did not want anything to do with her, and that she had no right to bother my aunt because of all this. She had no right to blame her for anything, because after all, everything that's happening right now was her own fault. She couldn't just go around looking for people to blame for something that she had done herself. That was not how things work, and I could understand that she was upset that her marriage was crumbling. But even that was her own fault. She tried to defend herself at several points, but thankfully, since her husband was there, he stopped her. And after I was done talking, he was the one who stood up and said he was thankful that we had at least invited them over and bothered to clear the air. And now, him and his wife would be leaving. He was the one who actually said that he was very sorry for whatever had happened, and if he had known, things might have been different. But he had no clue. And he genuinely doesn't want me to think that he was part of any of this. My mom did not say anything. She was just staring at me in the most angry way possible. But that did not affect me in the slightest, because like I said, I don't really care about her or her opinions. She left with her husband, and it's clear that right now she's just desperate to stay in his good books. So she's not trying to mess things up for us anymore. And I hope that she doesn't contact us in the future again either, because I really don't want anything to do with her. I think I've made that clear enough. And I truly hope that her husband works things out with her, because I think this is the one sure shot way of knowing that she's not going to try and get on our nerves. So, yeah, for my sake, I hope that her marriage works out for her, because I don't want her coming back here, because then I'll have to talk to a lawyer. Update 4. Hey guys, so I recently had a memorial event kind of thing in my dad's honor, and it went pretty well. Everybody who knew him attended, and I think I did a pretty good job with my speeches and everything. I was too young to have said anything at his actual funeral, but this time I said whatever I had been holding on to for so many years. It's now been close to a month since my previous update, and my mom has still not tried to get in touch with me, so I'm assuming that her marriage is still intact, or maybe she's just given up trying to bother us. And either way, I'm just happy that she hasn't disturbed me or my aunt. And I hope that it stays this way. Stay tuned for more stories from our girl relationships.